EA Sports. It's in the game. What's up, Leafs Digest? How's it going? Josh here. I hope you appreciate my impression there of the EA Sports intro guy. What an icon. What a great series of games. Even people who don't like hockey say it's one of the most fun sports video games, and that voice in the beginning, it is a cornerstone of that experience. Big news. Really big news. Auston Matthews, for the second time in just 3 years of his very young career, will be gracing the cover of the NHL game. This news has been met with some controversy by certain people. First off, I want to celebrate it and be excited about it because I am. But let me acknowledge this controversy because I think it's kind of fair when you look past the biases of being a Leafs fan. To give it to him 2 out of 3 years, again, while he's very young and in seasons where it was a first round explosion, it just seems like it's rewarding some funny things. Now, don't get me wrong, he is one of the best goal scorers in the league, which brings in a lot of viewership. It's some of the most sensational stuff to watch. He's one of the best sources of quality entertainment in hockey. So no matter who you are, you need to understand it from that standpoint. But when you look at the list of players who haven't got on it before, Sidney Crosby, Marc-Andre Fleury, Leon Draisaitl, Nathan MacKinnon, David Pastrnak, some guys who had really good seasons, went deeper than Matthews and the Leafs did, and still can't manage to get onto an EA Sports cover. It is what it is. I mean, call it like a fickle distinction. I still think it's very cool and it means a lot to the players, but I still think there's a few reasons why they decided Matthews was the man for this. And let me start with probably the biggest one, beyond goal scoring. It has to do with the fact that he's from Arizona. This isn't just a dude from Minnesota or New York, one of the hockey states. This guy comes from the land of the desert. Like, I'm surprised they have a rink down there outside of the one the Coyotes play in. And even that one right now is purchased and owned by the NHL because it didn't have the money going into it. Clearly, it's an anomaly to have a player, especially that good, come out of Arizona. So with all the expansion the NHL is doing into the United States in areas like Seattle, Vegas, to have an American poster boy of the league, even if he can't get past the first round and is very young, I think it's important to help brand it out the gate to these new cities who are joining. Give American kids hope that, hockey isn't just this cliche Canadian game. There's American superstars in it as well. So that's something that I think is very important about this decision. That was probably the most influential factor. Also, let's not ignore the fact that Matthews, sort of against the grain of typical hockey culture, likes to show up at Hollywood events dressed in designer with A-list friends. He's still pretty boring in interviews, but I do think that he likes to play up the pro athlete image a bit more than most of the guys in the NHL who are stereotypically very humble and reserved. So Matthews is a good star and poster boy for a bunch of those reasons, but people are confused. They don't really get it. And I have a buddy who plays in the CHL, or I guess played, and I'm not going to get into where or what his name is, but he's got some connections to NHL loops, and he told me that the guy who's going to get the cover this year is David Pastrnak. And I had every reason to believe that. He has earned a spot on the cover. He's goal-scoring sensation as well. But I think he's a Czech Republic player, so not the same American or North American in general appeal as some of the other athletes recently. But I believed it. I thought that made a lot of sense. And it didn't end up happening. Surprise, surprise. I acted like I knew what was going to happen, and it was Auston Matthews. So a pleasant surprise, but nonetheless, I understand why people are confused. When Matthews went to his Instagram to announce that he was going to be the cover athlete again, I kind of got greeted with what seemed like hostility, and even from Leafs fans, everyone was just confused. We were like, how are we rewarding, a guy that can't get out of the first round, very young, second time in 3 years when all these guys have never had an NHL cover? I'll be the first to say it doesn't make sense in a very unbiased way. I'm thrilled about it. Call it a happy mistake on the NHL's part. You got to understand, Toronto brings so much money and marketing into the sport of hockey. We got the NHL headquarters, the Hockey Hall of Fame. The whole entire province of Ontario probably accounts for 30 to 40% of NHL revenue, which is then split with other franchises. So to brand Ontario hockey is never a dumb decision, maybe a redundant decision, but they're breaking that mold now. They're giving it some of the love to an American player, although he does play in Toronto. Let me know what you guys think about this decision. I'm really confused by it. I'm happy, but very confused. I can see why they did it for all the reasons that I just mentioned, but who do you think really deserved to get it this year? That rumor that I heard, Pastrnak getting the cover, I think that made the most sense. To be completely unbiased and just frank with you. I think that should have been the guy who gets it. But I'll take Matthews, and hopefully this just keeps propelling his confidence. Not to the point of an inflated ego, because we already know he has enough of that. But hey, I'll take the compliment, especially in an offseason when the Leafs have just been thrashed by every other franchise. I mean, the fan base has been ragged by everyone, and we can't blame them. It's justifiably so. But guys, get in the comments and let me know what you think. Did Auston Matthews deserve the cover here, or who would you have given it to? But thank you guys for listening. As always, Philly and I will be back on a co-pod pretty soon, and make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Signing off.